Have you ever felt like you no longer understand the world around you, even though you used to be experienced, intelligent, and in control of everything? Many people begin to feel this way after the age of 61. Things that once seemed clear now become vague. Relationships that used to feel close now seem distant, and even their own bodies, as if they're speaking a different language. I once spoke with Olivia, 67, a former dedicated nurse from Wisconsin. After retiring, she focused on taking care of herself and maintaining a healthy lifestyle. But then she said, "I don't understand why I still feel empty, like I'm living in a world that no longer belongs to me." It wasn't because she was weak. It's because there are things that, no matter how smart you are, will still confuse you as you enter life after 60. What's worth noting is that many people feel the same way, but silently endure it, believing it's just a natural part of aging. And so, they gradually withdraw, living in silence and self-doubt. But you know what? Understanding what no longer makes sense after 61 is the first step toward living more clearly and confidently in the most precious stage of your life. This video will help you recognize 9 things that no longer fit and why you should stop trying to understand or put up with them. Instead, you'll feel more at ease and learn how to rebuild your life in a way that truly fits who you are. If this topic touches something in your heart, leave a comment so I know you're listening and so we can continue this journey together. And now, let's discover the 9 things that no longer make sense after 61 and how you can start living with more clarity and ease, beginning today. Have you ever turned down something you wanted just because you were afraid of what others might think? In your 60s and beyond, you should be able to live more lightly, doing what you love and resting after decades of dedication. Yet strangely, many people still carry a quiet fear inside. What will people think of me? Will I seem selfish? These questions, if left unnoticed, can quietly dictate the way you live every single day. We grow up in a culture that values social norms: how we dress, how we behave, how much time we give to others. From an early age, you were taught to be polite, agreeable, and self-sacrificing. But no one taught you how to say no when something no longer aligns with your core values. Here's the problem. If you always live to please others, you may slowly lose yourself without realizing it. You might go to gatherings that drain you, say yes to helping others even when you're exhausted, or bury your true desires just to keep the peace. And over time, that leads to fatigue, confusion, and even emptiness. The good news is, you can live true to yourself without feeling guilty. You don't need to become rude or confrontational, just brave enough to set clear boundaries and be honest about what truly matters to you. You have the right to decline invitations that don't feel comfortable. You can choose a quiet evening at home instead of a loud party. You can dress simply if that makes you feel most like yourself. What matters is not what others think, but how you feel living your own life. Here's a small suggestion to start. Write down the 5 personal values that matter most to you. Maybe honesty, peace, gratitude, creativity. Then ask yourself, does what I'm about to do reflect these values? If not, be brave enough to adjust. Living by your values doesn't make you selfish. It makes you honest with yourself. In fact, when you live authentically, you attract the right people. Those who respect you for who you truly are, not the version of yourself you've crafted just to please them. Remember this: you've spent most of your life caring for others. Now it's your turn to choose you. That's not selfishness. It's a mature, wise step forward. And when you do that, you also inspire the younger generation. Your children and grandchildren will look at you and learn a powerful truth. It's never too late to live authentically. Have you ever opened your closet and felt swallowed by clothes you no longer wear? Or walked into your garage and wondered, how many lawnmowers have I bought? We live in a country where ownership is often tied to success. For decades, advertising, consumer culture, and even our daily habits have convinced us that having more means living better. And so, over the years, we buy, keep, stack, accumulate, as if everything we own will somehow bring lasting security. But at some point, usually after turning 61, you begin to realize a quiet yet profound truth. Happiness doesn't come from how much you have, but from whether you truly need and love what you choose to keep. Because when your belongings become a burden, they are no longer possessions, they become obstacles. A house full of stuff can start to feel like a museum of the past, where each item holds an unresolved memory, an unmade decision. But here's the good news. You don't have to give up everything or live in extreme minimalism to find peace. You only need to ask yourself one simple question. Does this item still bring real joy or value to my life today? If the answer is no, give yourself permission to let it go. Instead of accumulating, shift to curating and cherishing. Keep what makes you smile. A favorite mug, a handwritten letter, a book by your bedside. These small things carry more power than an entire room filled with items that no longer serve you. You can begin with small spaces, a drawer, a bookshelf, a corner of the room. Each item you release is space you reclaim, not just in your home, but in your mind. It's space for new beginnings, for simple joys, and for the you that exists today. And the beautiful part? You can turn this into an act of love by donating items still in good condition to others. You're not only lightening your own life, but also enriching someone else's. Let simplicity be a gift you give yourself after all these years of accumulating. Because in the end, the most precious thing won't be found in any closet. It will be in the feeling of living each day lightly, freely, and peacefully. Do you often accept invitations you don't really want, just because you don't want to disappoint others? Crowded parties, dull group meetings, or even long Zoom calls, not because you enjoy them, but because you feel like you have to show up. After 61, many people still carry a mindset shaped over a lifetime. Be polite. Maintain relationships. Appear friendly. These shoulds, if left unchecked, can quietly drain your energy on things that no longer truly matter at this stage of life. The truth is, you don't owe anyone your presence, especially if it leaves you feeling tired, stressed, or empty afterward. Turning down an invitation doesn't make you unfriendly. On the contrary, it's a sign that you understand the value of your time and energy. Because at this age, every peaceful afternoon, every quiet cup of tea with a book, every warm phone call with a loved one, that's what truly deserves your time. One of the most profound shifts many people experience after retirement is realizing time is no longer as abundant as it once seemed. That's not a scary thought. It's a precious reminder. You can choose to live more intentionally, not just in what you own, but also in the relationships and interactions you engage in. So, how do you begin? Try creating a joy standard for invitations. If thinking about the event excites you, go. If you feel hesitant, or if your only reason is not to upset someone, pause and reconsider. You can politely decline with a simple sentence. Thank you for the invitation, but I won't be able to attend this time. No further explanation is needed. Now imagine this. If you only attended gatherings that brought positive energy, where you felt like yourself, truly listened to, and genuinely connected, every social moment would feel like a gift, not a burden. By prioritizing what makes you feel truly alive, you're rewriting the meaning of socializing in a way that fits your true self, not out of politeness, but from honesty. And through that honesty, life becomes lighter, more heartfelt, and filled with intentional choices. Life after 61 isn't the end of relationships. It's the beginning of deeper, more sincere, and meaningful connections. And that begins the moment you dare to say no to what no longer serves you. Have you ever stood in front of the mirror, looking at the wrinkles, the age spots, or the graying hair, and felt like you're no longer beautiful the way you once were? In a society that glorifies youth, it's easy to understand why many people feel like they're declining as their bodies begin to change. We're constantly surrounded by anti-aging ads, slim body ideals, and flawless skin campaigns, images that quietly plant the belief in older adults that they're no longer attractive. But here's what few people ever tell you. True beauty isn't about erasing the marks of time. It's about having the courage to live fully with them. Your body hasn't betrayed you. It's simply telling the story of the life you've lived. Every wrinkle marks a smile, a tear, a moment of worry, or a sleepless night spent caring for someone you love. Every change in your body is a memory map, a witness to love, care, and resilience you've carried through the years. The pressure to maintain a youthful appearance at this age is not only unrealistic, it also overshadows your true value. Instead of chasing standards that were never meant for mature adults, you can choose to see your body through the lens of gratitude. Instead of scanning the mirror for flaws, look into your eyes, the place where experience, kindness, and irreplaceable beauty still live. Instead of forcing yourself into strict diets or costly surgeries, choose habits that nourish your body and spirit in gentle, sustainable ways. One small but powerful shift is to change the question from how do I look to how do I feel. When you begin to care more about how you feel in your own body rather than how others see you, you start to feel free. You can wear what feels comfortable, do light exercises you enjoy, eat to feel good, not to meet a number on a scale. And you'll begin to notice a new kind of beauty emerge, one that comes from within, natural and undeniable. No one can take your beauty away unless you give it up yourself. And this beauty, after 61 years of living, doesn't need makeup or surgery. It needs acceptance, gentleness, and pride in the journey that brought you here. Remember, you don't need to become young again to be beautiful. You only need to be real, to truly shine. After turning 61, many people continue doing things that once felt meaningful, like volunteering at a veterans organization, playing weekly golf with the same group, or attending a book club they no longer enjoy. Why? Because I already signed up, or people expect me to be there, or simply because they don't know what else to do instead. But time is the most valuable asset you have right now. And every hour spent on something that no longer brings you joy is an hour lost from living deeply, being truly present. You owe no habit your lifelong loyalty. A habit only has value if it still serves you. When joy fades, you have every right to say goodbye without needing to apologize. Because instead of clinging to things that used to be meaningful, you can start exploring what feels meaningful now. Your 60s are not the end of discovery. They're the perfect time to begin again. with a freer spirit, less burdened by performance or pressure. Have you ever wanted to learn painting, but thought, it's too late? Or wished to pick up the guitar, but always told yourself, I don't have the talent? Or simply dreamed of growing vegetables in the backyard, hiking, making pottery, or trying a new recipe, but never gave yourself the time? Now is the time. Start with a simple list. What excites you, even just a little? What makes you lose track of time when you do it? What small dream have you left behind because of work, responsibilities, or family? Don't search for passion as if it's a lightning bolt from the sky. Treat it like a seed that needs planting, attention, and care. Try a class, join a new group, or simply do something you've never tried before, not to be great at it, but to feel alive. In doing so, you'll begin to fill your life with freshness, and you'll realize that you're still opening up, not closing down. Every new experience is proof. You still have so much to learn, to love, to explore. And most importantly, you're living in rhythm with your true heartbeat, not a routine set long ago by old habits. You deserve a life full of curiosity, ease, and joy. And to make space for that, you must be brave enough to release what has expired so you can welcome what's waiting ahead. Do you know someone who makes you feel worse about yourself every time you talk, yet you still keep in touch because you've known each other forever? Or their family? At this stage in life, we understand that relationships can be one of life's greatest gifts or a deeply draining source of energy. But it's not easy to cut ties with people we've been connected to for years, even if those bonds are no longer healthy. So many continue to endure, make excuses, or cling to the hope that maybe they'll change someday. But here's a truth you need to face. You cannot heal others by hurting yourself. Someone who constantly judges you, controls you, or makes you feel guilty, whether a friend, a relative, or even a close family member, is not someone you need to keep close. After 61, what you need in relationships is not quantity, but authenticity. What matters isn't how many people are around you, but whether they truly make you feel at peace, at ease, and free to be yourself. Saying no to toxic interactions isn't cold, it's loyalty to yourself. You can begin by simply noticing how you feel after each interaction with someone. Do you feel lighter or more tense? Do you feel empowered or drained? The answers will show you whether a relationship should be cherished, limited, or ended. And if ending it completely feels too hard, you can still set boundaries. Limit how often you speak. Reduce how long you spend together. Be clear about how you wish to be treated. You don't need to do this with anger, but with strength and self-respect. At the same time, nurture the relationships that nurture you, people who listen, support, uplift, and respect your growth. Even just a few of these can fill your life with warmth and meaning. Remember, you are no longer at an age where you have to please everyone. Now is the time to choose wisely, not out of selfishness, but from wisdom and love for yourself. Sometimes freedom isn't about traveling far. It's about walking away from what no longer fits. Have you ever looked at an old friend who just bought a vacation home in Florida, or a neighbor whose children care for them lovingly, and thought to yourself, why isn't my life like that? After more than 6 decades of living, you've had enough experience to know no two lives are the same, and yet comparison remains a quiet habit, creeping in and stealing away your sense of contentment. It's not about age, it's about how we see ourselves in relation to others. What's more, social media and modern culture only fuel that feeling. Every vacation photo, every post about a personal milestone, every story of someone's grandchild getting into Harvard can spark that lingering doubt. Have I done enough with my life? But you are not them, and they cannot be you. Every path has its own terrain, rhythm, and destination. Your life cannot be measured by someone else's yardstick, especially when all you see is their highlight reel. When you compare, you often forget what you've overcome, what you already have. You overlook your resilience, the losses you've risen from, the things you've built quietly without applause. Instead of asking, "How do I measure up?" try asking, "How far have I come from where I started?" The answer may surprise you. Start by writing down what you're proud of, no matter how small. A moment you forgave someone, a chapter where you cared for a sick loved one, a hard decision you made for your family. These moments may never make headlines or win medals, but they are the real treasures of your life. And from there, you'll realize you don't need to catch up to anyone. You only need to be true to the path you're on, with your own values, your own lessons, your own quiet pauses. And when you stop comparing, you begin to appreciate not just yourself, but those around you. You'll see that everyone is struggling in their own way. And in the end, it's not about who gets there first. It's about who arrives with their heart still whole. Remember this: you don't need to live someone else's story. You only need to tell your own, honestly and fully. Many people, even after turning 61, still push themselves to complete a plan, maintain a project, or hold on to a position that no longer makes them feel alive, simply because it was something they committed to long ago, or because others expect it. Society often praises perseverance, but rarely teaches us how to let go wisely. As a result, you may find yourself exhausted, yet afraid to stop, disheartened, yet still trying to push forward, hoping that it'll all feel worth it in the end. But here's the truth: not every goal set at 40 still fits who you are at 61. People change, circumstances change, priorities change, and adjusting your goals isn't failure, it's growth. You have every right to pause and ask yourself, do I still truly want this? If the answer is, I'm not sure, or not like before, that's your signal to reassess. Letting go doesn't mean you lack determination. Letting go might be the very first step in reconnecting with something more meaningful, more aligned with who you are today, not who you were 20 years ago. Try this. Write down the goals you're currently holding, whether related to work, family, lifestyle, or personal growth. Then for each one, ask yourself, where did this goal come from? From me or from someone else's expectations? Does it still excite me, or has it become just a habit? If I let it go, what good might open up in its place? You may be surprised to find how much you're still carrying, not because it still makes sense, but out of fear of emptiness, or the feeling that I've already invested too much. But here's a powerful truth. You don't need to accomplish anything more to prove your worth. You've lived long enough, deep enough to know that happiness doesn't come from completed checklists. It comes from the moments when you're living in tune with what you truly need. These days, your goals might be as simple and as sacred as sleeping well each night, spending time with your grandchildren, finishing the book stacked on your shelf, learning how to slow down. These aren't lesser goals. They are signs of maturity and of the courage it takes to let go of busyness in order to reclaim peace. So allow yourself to change course, not because you failed, but because you finally know who you are. Have you ever planned an entire day just for yourself? only to feel guilty afterward? Maybe you set out to read, take a walk, or simply rest. But then came a call, asking you to babysit, an invitation to run errands, or just that nagging feeling that I should be doing something more useful. Even after 60, many people still carry a deep belief. A good person always puts others first. And so, for years, you've prioritized the needs of your loved ones, co-workers, children. So much so that you may have forgotten you too deserve to be cared for. That dedication is admirable. But when it leads to neglecting yourself for too long, it begins to shift. From care to sacrifice, and eventually to burnout. Now is the time to embrace a vital truth. Putting yourself first is not selfish. It's the foundation of any lasting, healthy love. When you are well, peaceful, and joyful, you can give more freely, without resentment or depletion. Guilt over caring for yourself is a learned emotion, not an instinct. And what has been learned can be unlearned. Start small. Say no to a request when you need rest. Spend a morning doing something just for you. Or simply sit in silence without feeling lazy for doing so. Practice asking yourself, does this truly nourish me? If the answer is yes, you need no other reason. If the answer is no, you have the right to decline, not to rebel against anyone, but to stand up for yourself. You've spent a lifetime caring for others. Now, let the rest of your life be the time you return to yourself as your own best friend. And you'll see that when you live with joy, ease, and attentiveness to your own needs, those around you will be inspired to do the same. Loving yourself is not the final step. It's the beginning of a fuller, deeper life that truly belongs to you. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Your presence here is truly valuable, not just as a reader, but as someone ready to open up to positive change in life after 61. We've just walked together through 9 things no longer worth carrying, from appearance pressures and outdated habits to toxic relationships and goals that no longer serve you. Each thing you're willing to release is a step toward greater freedom, lightness, and authenticity. Now I invite you to pause for a moment and ask yourself, which of these speaks to me the most? Where will I begin? Starting today. You don't have to change everything at once. One small, intentional step is enough to begin a new journey. If you found this content helpful, feel free to share it with a loved one or friend, someone who may also be standing at the edge of a new chapter in life. And if you'd like to continue this journey with me, of living slower, truer, and more deeply, don't hesitate to hit follow or leave a comment with your thoughts. Life after 61 isn't a downhill road. It's a new summit of clarity, freedom, and choice. And remember, it's never too late to live a life that truly belongs to you.